Hey everyone, Vijay here. So today we're going to do some fancy green screen stuff. So I'm basically going to be talking about the human anatomy itself, and I'm going to be focusing mainly in the area that I work in, which is there, right? So you can see that these are very complex structures. Human anatomy is a very, very, very complex subject, and each one of you is anatomically unique. Definitely on the outside, but when we peel away the skin and the muscles, definitely on the inside as well. So this is an exploded view, just so you understand how many different bones are intersecting with each other. Your skull is not one piece, it's multiple units all linking together, and we have to pay attention to all of these connections. And we can see the exploded view here, we can see the cranial cavity at the top, we can see the mouth down here at the bottom. We haven't got the muscles yet, but that's coming in a minute. So we're sort of working from the inside out, so you can see the yellow and the green. These are muscles, these are the temporalis and the masseter muscle. These are the ones that are involved in moving the jaw up and down primarily. You've got some muscles on the inside which help with things like chewing, tongue movement, speech, all kinds of stuff. These are just a very, very, very few of them. You are talking about 40 muscles at least, some very big, some very small, but every time we do an oral rehab, all of these things have to recalibrate to the new reality. They already recalibrated to the reality that you walked in with, but that's happened very gradually over years or decades, which is why you didn't notice, because the state of degeneration of the teeth also matched the rate at which the muscles were recalibrating. Some of you who wear dentures would have known the shock on day one to the oral environment of putting that denture in, because you would have gone, oh my God, I've got a mouthful of plastic all of a sudden. This is what we do is similar to that, but remember, we're going to a fixed prosthetic state. There is no palate, nothing moves about, but what they are definitely not are natural teeth, like these things. So you can see it's an incredibly complex mechanism. So the upper jaw, for example, just doesn't move. It's a fixed part of the skull. It's the lower jaw that swings up and down. And you can see all the fine muscle fiber attachments that connect all the different parts. You can see the muscles on the floor of the mouth now. They're all impacted every time we mess about with things in and around what you see, which are your teeth. But remember, we're going into the jawbone, which has an effect on the muscle attachments that you see there on the inside. And then we have the big picture view of the complexities. We've also got, if you look carefully, you've got holes like this and this down here. These are where the nerves come out from the jawbone, so we've got to be very careful when we work around all of these things. So all of this are the complexities that get taken into consideration. I think the confusion is when people go and have, some veneers done, you're only working on really the roof tiles here. You're not messing about with any of these mechanisms or really the muscles at any great scale. That is very different to what we do. We do oral rehabilitation literally from healthy bone level back all the way to where the teeth are. We're not working with anything that's already there because they're shot, and that's why they have to go. So you can see just the big picture overview here of how complex every single one of you is. And we've got all of this information when we take all your scans, and we know where all the muscles go. The muscles are there and thereabouts in their attachment. Their strengths vary from every single one of you, between every single one of you. So for example, men have far more angular jaws because they just have stronger muscles, and that's shaped the jawbone too. Women have softer faces, rounder faces, because the muscles aren't as prominent. So all of these variables have to be accounted for. So we look at gender differences, we look at age differences, we look at medications. So we've got here the complex joint, that is the TMJ disc. This is one of the body's shock absorbers. And this is the importance of a shock absorber. If that disc wasn't there and it was bone grating against bone, we would damage that joint. So the importance of shock absorbers is to understand why we use titanium subframe and PMMA on top to help with shock absorption, because shock absorption is there in every joint in the body. You can't, including natural teeth. So when you have your own teeth, they sit in an elastic pocket called a periodontal ligament. Periodontal disease is the loss of that ligament, the loss of that ability to shock absorb, and it allows food to go in where it's not supposed to go. So not putting the shock absorber back when you rehabilitate somebody, in our view, is unacceptable. That's why we've been working for well over a decade with titanium PMMA. And actually, titanium PMMA, metal PMMA, and now more so titanium PMMA, is where I started my career in 1999 and where it had been going to from 1962. Things like zirconia are all much newer materials. They are not better, they're just different, and they have as many complications as they do plus points. I think talking only about the cosmetics and forgetting about all the clinical architecture in and around what we do is frankly a mistake. So really understanding, going on beyond what you see, will help you understand some of the things that you're going through. In as much as you don't want to think about these things, if you're going to live with these devices, you need to understand them better. You need to understand, if you look at all the facial muscles that are at play, the muscles of expression, the muscles of lip support, the muscles of chin support, the muscles of jawline support, they all are connected to prosthetic positions of teeth, all of them. There is no way that they're just like separate bits. So you change one thing, everything else has to readapt. So you shouldn't be surprised if speech adaptation takes a bit longer. You shouldn't be surprised if your bite feels funny. The beauty with using something like titanium PMMA is we can calibrate it to you over time, and it normally does all by itself anyway. Everything just learns the new reality. The one thing we can't predict is how long it takes for all of these muscles and all of these hard structures to harmonize with each other for you, because it's almost like going through what you went through in puberty, but in weeks as opposed to years, and at a much later stage in life. I hope this overview helps you. Thank you.